Hello, my name is Roisin and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the end of the year tag, which is a tag I've done every year since I've been on booktube. And I normally do it in October because then I've had the first 9 months of the year to talk about, so it's a quarterly thing. But this year I'm taking October off of YouTube because I am turning 30. As you probably already know if you watch my videos, I've been talking about it a lot because I'm very excited. So there will be some videos that I've pre-filmed and edited going up in October, but any of these like timing based ones, they will be filmed in the wrong time. I think most people film this in September. It's just my personal thing that it needs to be at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But anyway, regardless, I'm going to talk about the questions now. We have 6 questions, so I will, I'm sure, ramble for a while about each of them. So question number 1 is, are there any books you started this year and need to finish? And I am partway through several books, I think 5 books at the moment. But I think this question is more about books that you've kind of started and put down somewhere, because the ones that I'm currently reading, like actively reading, obviously will be finished. So the one that I think of is East of Eden by John Steinbeck, which I started to listen to the audiobook of when I was reading classics in August. I did a vlog of that, so I will leave that linked in the cards above if you are interested. And so I read about 5% of this book. It is a huge, chunky, like 30-hour length audiobook. And so I read about 5% and I was enjoying the style of writing. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. But then after August finished and I was no longer reading classics, and then I needed to read, well, I'm reading the Booker Prize now, and I was reading something else at the beginning of the month and I can't even remember what it was. The Wainwright Prize. I was reading the Wainwright Prize. So I had other things, and big chunky classic audiobooks just didn't fit in with the time that I had. And hopefully before the end of the year I will find some time to finish John Steinbeck. I mean, like I said, I'm taking October off of YouTube, so I'm sure I will have some more time then that I can devote to reading, possibly just devote to YouTube and K-dramas, but we will see. Question number 2 is, do you have any autumnal books to transition you to the end of the year? And I have been talking recently on this channel about the new subgenre that I've got into, the weird women books, or just weird books more generally, and I will leave linked in the description all of the booktubers that I follow that are related to this, that I have been getting me into this. And so I have recently acquired from the library and from bookshops several books in this genre, and I think that creepy, dark, weird women and some men vibes are kind of perfect for like Halloween, October, spooky season. It's getting colder, it's getting foggier, and yeah, I think some creepy books will be good. So I won't talk to you about what they actually are, but we've got Perfume. I've actually owned that one for ages, but I do think it's creepy. Picnic at Hanging Rock, which is by Joan goodness, which is by Joan Lindsay and is a classic, vintage classic. Edward Carey, The Swallowed Man. I read Little, which I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, but someone got for me. Again, I will. Someone got for me at Christmas time, and someone commented, it's Carrie M, commented saying that she'd like to see my wish list in advance of my birthday, as I've already mentioned it. So I will leave that in the description if anyone wants to, but don't feel you have to at all. But anyway, Swallowed Man, I read Little by him because someone gave me the book, which is why I thought of that, and it does have some fairly creepy illustrations in it, so I feel like it's going to be quite creepy. Mrs. Caliban by Rachel Ingalls. I know a lot of people have been reading it this year, and it is about a woman who falls in love with a frogman, so creepy. We've got Heavy Weather, Tempestuous Tales of Stranger Climes, which is the British Library Tales of the Weird series, this one specifically about weather, so it's a collection of weird short stories. Things We Lost in the Fire by Mariana Enriquez, nice creepy cover there, and I read The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by her and I loved it, so I'm looking forward to another short story collection by her. Adele by Leila Slimani. I know people have talked about Leila Slimani. I think Lullaby is actually the one that I was most aware of, but I found this one in my library, so that's what we're going with. Fever Dream by Samanta Shweblin, another creepy short story collection. Is this a short story collection or is this a novel? But she also writes short stories. I can't remember, but I know that she's like similar vein to Mariana Enriquez. And then I've also reserved from the library Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Rabbit Hutch. So lots of weird, short, dark girl books that I think would be perfect for this time of year. Question number 3, is there a new release that you are still waiting for? Well, I recently did my autumn releases that I'm excited for video, which I will leave linked in the cards above if you are interested in that. And so there are 25 books there, but the ones that I'm really excited for particularly is The Book of Goose by Yi-Yun Lee, which is about 2 French girls in the countryside who form a sort of obsessive relationship where one's obsessed with making the other a famous artist. At least that's the vibes I'm getting. But I've seen so many people, I put that video up where I was talking about my autumn new releases, and I have since seen so many people on Bookstagram reviewing it, like 5 or 6 people in the days following, and so that's made me even more excited for it because everyone seems to be really enjoying it. And yeah, so I'm excited for that one. And then there's also Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, which is set in Appalachia and is a kind of coming of age story of a young boy. And I read The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver a few years ago, no, more than a few years ago, like a decade ago, and I really, really loved it. So I'm kind of keeping an eye out for that one coming out because I really enjoy her writing. And then there's also Ghost Music by Anne Yu, and I read her Braised Pork back at the beginning of 2020. It was so long ago now, but I really loved it. And also I think that, well, I enjoyed it. I don't think I really loved it, but it is kind of slightly magical, detached, weird things going on for a woman who's feeling removed from her world, like exactly the genre that I've been getting into recently. And so I think that if I read it now, I'd love it more than I did then. So I think that that's her new one, Ghost Music, is one that I'm very excited for. Question number 4 is 3 books you want to read by the end of the year. And again, I did a whole video of my autumn TBR, which is books I want to read by the end of the year, which I will leave again linked in the cards above. But ones that I mentioned on there: Perfume, The Story of a Murderer by Patrick Susskind. So I mentioned this one as part of the creepy books earlier, but it is also one that's been on my TBR for so long because it is there's a film based on it with Ben Whishaw that I absolutely loved when I was a teenager, and this is actually my mum's copy of this, so I know my mum has read it as well. And this is about a man in France in the 18th century, which is again something I want to read more of, but it's about a man who has no personal smell but has a really great sense of smell, and so he ends up murdering people for their scent. And I think that the writing's supposed to be like beautiful, lyrical, lovely, and a bit weird, dark, funny, which is exactly what I'm into at the moment. So perfect transitional book, but also a book that I've been meaning to read for so long. I made a video ages ago about 30 books I want to read before I'm 30, which I will leave linked in the cards above, and I think I've read fewer than 10. So if I can get these done before the end of October, then I will count them as well. So the other ones on that list includes Black and British by David Olusoga, which is another non-fiction book that everybody who's read has absolutely raved about, and it is about the complete, well, an abridged but complete history of black people in the British Isles, from Roman Britain to Elizabethan Britain, the Britons who fought in Trafalgar and in the World Wars, and the boom of the 19th century built on American slavery. David Olusoga is a, like, what do you call it? Like a celebrity historian, he's a well-known historian anyway. He makes TV programs, and I enjoy his TV programs. I enjoy the way that he approached things on television, but I just think it's because it's such a chunky non-fiction that I found this really intimidating in the past, and that is why I haven't yet read it, but I really want to. So this is definitely one that I want to read by the end of the year, and I now have the audiobook as well, which I think will make it a little more approachable for me. So maybe I will find the time to read this eventually. And then the other one that I talked about in that video is Possession by A.S. Barrett. And that is a piece of historical fiction that won the Booker Prize, but I think it is a 2 timelines historical fiction, which doesn't always work for me. I don't usually love a dual timeline unless it's done quite cleverly, but the amount of people who've raved about this one, and again I have it on audiobook, so hopefully I will really enjoy it. It's about 2 professors who are English professors interested in these poets, I think, from the 19th century, and then also uncovering the mystery of what happened in the 19th century as well. It's another chunky book, and I think that getting into chunky books something that I'm going to try and do with some of my time off, because if I'm not, you know, trying to make vlogs where I read books, then maybe I will feel more capable of devoting my time to one big chunky book. Question number 5 is, are there any books that could shock you and be your favourite book of the year? And I think it would be quite easy this year to be my favourite book of the year, because I can't really think of a favourite book so far. There have definitely been some books that I really enjoyed, some books that stand out more than others, but I feel like I've had kind of a weird reading year where I haven't really been loving a lot of the stuff I've been reading, so there is definitely all to play for in the ranks of what will be my favourite book of the year. I am currently reading, I left the other one upstairs, the Booker Prize shortlist. So these are the ones I've got out from the library so far. Oh William is upstairs because I'm partway through reading it and I forgot to get it before the start of this video. But we also have Small Things Like These, which a lot of people have loved. Irish author, set around Christmas. Definitely could work for me, and I really like the cover. Hard to tell with the like shiny plastic on, but I really like the cover. Also, quote on the back from Hilary Mantel. And Oh William by Elizabeth Strout also has a quote on the front from Hilary Mantel, who, as you may know, is one of my favourite authors. I will leave linked in the cards above a video I recently made about that. So her blurbing things definitely makes me interested. We have The Seven Moons of Marley Almeida, and this is the one for which I personally was the most excited. It's set in Sri Lanka and is a ghost story, like a madcap sorting out a mystery, but in the afterlife, and he's got 7 moons to try and sort everything out. And I love a literary ghost story. There will be, or maybe is already, there will be or is already a video about my favourite ghost stories, so I'm excited for that one for that reason. Glory by No Violet Bulawayo is the one I'm the most trepidatious about. It's narrated, it's a whole country of animals based on Zimbabwean history, post-colonial history and the rise of Robert Mugabe, but it's all animals, and I'm not sure how the gimmick will work for me, and also it's the one I've heard other people bashing the most. And then the other ones, we have The Trees by Percival Everett, which I've also already started, and is about murders happening in the town of Money, Mississippi, and the body of Emmett Till being found at the same place as all of these murders, but disappearing. The other one is Treacle Walker, which is very short, again, and very weird, and I'm unsure about that one. Some people, like Simon from Footnotes and Tangents, have absolutely loved it and been raving about it non-stop. Some people, like Matthew Sharappa, have been saying that what's the point in a book, you have to have read all his other works in order to understand. So who knows how I will feel about it, but any of those 6, my favourite book last year was The Promise, which won the Booker Prize, and which I read around the same time of year. So there's definitely room for a new favourite book to emerge. And then question number 6 is, have you started making reading plans for next year? And the answer to that is no, which is not probably a surprise for most people would be quite normal, because there are still 3 months left of this year. I have planned out until the end of December, although I'm on the fence. If you would like to let me know in the comments down below. The past 2 years I have read the Goodreads Choice Awards historical fiction, 10 of the apparently best historical fictions of the year. And I am unsure whether to do that again this year, whether to maybe read a different thing from the Goodreads Choice Awards, so either the fiction, the poetry, or the non-fiction, one of those 3, rather than the historical fiction, because I so often hate so many of those books. And whilst I do enjoy editing the vlog where I'm ranting, I quite enjoy the videos that come out of it, I don't enjoy the reading experience of a lot of those books. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd want to see me do another one, or if you enjoy the historical fiction ones, because I'd love to see where you fall on that, because like my first historical fiction one is one of my favourite videos that I've done, but I don't know if I want to read all those books again. Who knows? Maybe I should wait until the list comes out and make a decision then, but I'd like your input if you have any. But anyway, planning for next year. Normally I would have started planning already, because I love planning and I love thinking ahead, but I feel like I've been just super busy this year, and I've been planning for my birthday and everything, so I haven't been in the same like space. I haven't had as much space. I work full-time, well not full-time, but I work 5 days a week now, and I used to only work 3, so it makes a difference to the amount of time I have to just sit around and think about things. So yeah, but Anyway, that is the end of this video. That is all of the questions. I will leave the questions in the description, and if there are any or all of them you want to answer, if you are a booktuber, I tag you to make the video. If you are not, you can leave your answers in the comments below if you want to, and do let me know what you thought of this video as well. Please do remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and to give this video a thumbs up. Generally speaking, I put out videos twice a week, and but in October there will just be a few sporadic videos because, as I said at the beginning, I am off, not making YouTube videos for the whole of October, so there will be as many as I can film and edit before October begins. That's all you're getting. Maybe you'll get a wrap up as well that I do at the beginning of October, but otherwise, yeah, we are not doing twice weekly videos in October. So, but there will be another one in September, I think. I don't know what date this is going up on, but you know, we will have 2 a week in September. And I will see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.